Have you tried any AI with Power BI before now? If no, I'm going to actually show you how to build a Power BI dashboard using AI, just like what you have right on your screen right now. In today's video, we're going to be building this particular dashboard together. And before we get into it, all we have to do is to understand the business questions, right? So over here, I have a PDF that actually walks you through every single thing you need to understand before you start building the dashboard itself. And almost 90% of the dashboard is going to be handled by an AI like ChatGPT or Gemini, anyone you want to use. All I'm just going to do is to show you every single thing you need to know when it comes to building dashboards with AI, right? So over here, this is the dashboard we have actually built, and every single object here is being written by GPT. I'm going to show you how to actually do all of this without doing a manual work for this. You must first of all understand your DAX. It's very important. Don't trust GPT 100%. If you understand your DAX functions, your Excel functions, your Python code, it will be very easy for you to use any AI like ChatGPT, Gemini, or any other AI to actually assist you to speeding up your project. Is very important. So let us get into the project right now. The very first thing we have to do is to connect to our data. So go over to blank report. While you are here, go over to file, go over to this particular, let's drop this down so that we can see it better. Go to get data here, click on text/CSV. So here is our data. We can actually go ahead and click on open. So now we have to transform our data inside Power Query. Although data is not that dirty for which actually spend a lot of time right on. So go ahead and click on transform data. Once you are here, the next thing is for we to actually change the name of our table. So come over to this particular property side and name the table to sales and hit the enter key. It has actually changed. So now if we scroll to this particular part here, we want to actually extract anything after the comma delimiter. How do we do that? In my previous video, I actually showed you how to use transform and add column. So go ahead and check out the data transformation video and watch how to actually use Power Query to clean and transform data. So go over to transform data and make sure the sales location column is selected. Then go over to extract and click on text before delimiter. Then you have to actually tell Power Query what the delimiter is. So it's comma. Then if I go ahead and click on OK right now, now it's gone. Can you see how easy it is? This is all we have to do right in here. The next thing is for us to go back home and close and load. So this is something very simple. We don't have to spend a lot of time writing here because our data is already clean. Okay, the next thing we have to do right now is to actually create a calendar table, which is a date table. And we don't have to do it 100% ourselves. We have to give that particular work to GPT to do for you, right? Let's see how we can do that. So go over to your browser and open up GPT. You can use the free version. If you don't have the paid version, they both work the same thing. So right now, I'm going to actually give it a very simple prompt. So it's a very simple line of prompt. Create a calendar table for me using Calendar Auto. Even though if I don't say Power BI or DAX, just because I said Calendar Auto, it knows the software we want to use to actually create our report. So if I hit my enter key right now, it's going to go ahead and start creating a calendar or a date table for me. So now almost ready. Can you see it right now? Can you see it? So I have to check and see if I have all the columns I'm looking for. One of the major columns that is very important to me is actually start of month. So I'm not sure if it is here. So now it's not here. So what do? I can just say add start of month. Can you see it now? So it's going to be updated. Okay. Now we have it. We can just go ahead and copy our code from here. then get back to this particular part right in here. So it's very important, save your work as you create so that if presumably maybe Power BI shut down or PC shut down, you can actually get it back. So I'm going to actually do this here. So now all we have to do is to go over to this particular table view and click on new table, then paste in the code that GPT has written for us. So paste it right in here and hit the enter key. That is all we have to do. So if there is any column you don't want, you can actually remove it. But right now, as you can see, we have an error already. So what is the error all about? Let's do paste again. I'm going to hit the enter key. Okay. So let me verify what the problem is. Okay, the problem here is that the table name is not included. So what we can do right now is to go over here. This is why I said you must actually know your DAX before you ask GPT to get it done for you. So all I have to do right now is to go above here. So now I'm going to do calendar. So with my calendar, I'm going to put equals, go down here, calendar auto. Now over here, use add column. Then inside here, use calendar auto. Now close it, put a comma, shift, enter. Now paste this one in and close this, then hit our enter key right now. Let's see the magic. So it has worked 100%. This is because I know how to write my DAX myself. So what GPT is doing for me right now is to fasten the whole processes for me because I can do everything 100% all by myself. So if it will take me 3 hours to actually get a particular report created, it might take me just 20 to 10 minutes to actually get something done with GPT. That is your assistance. Okay, now we have this right here. If there's a particular column we don't want to have right now, the next thing we have to do is to actually go ahead and have it removed. So let us go over here and see this particular part here is the long month. We don't want the long month. We take it off. We actually remove the short from here to only have 1 month. So now the next thing is going to be this particular year and month here. You can actually take it off as well. You don't need it. So this particular one here. So if I hit my enter key, let's see what we have right now. Updated, we can take a look at what we have already. So this is exactly what it is. So we are not done yet. The next thing we have to do right now is to make sure we connect this particular calendar to our main data. So let's go over to the modeling view here. So while we are here, we can see we have 2 tables. Just drag the order date to the date column here. That will actually create many-to-one relationship for you. Then go ahead and click on OK. Okay, so we are almost there. The next thing we have to do right now, we are about to actually start writing our measures, but we don't have to write these particular measures, individually or manually. Rather, we have to write it all at once and copy it and paste it without doing too much work. So before we do that, we have to create a table that we want to store our measures right in. So this is how we're going to do it. Go to enter data here under home. Click on enter data. So right here, we're going to actually create a table called a disconnected table. So let's go ahead and name this one DAX house. Okay, let us go ahead and load this one into Power BI. So this particular table we just created right now does not have any relationship with our previous tables. It's just a disconnected table. Okay, once we have this right now, the next thing we have to do is to create one single measure right in here. And you're going to see why I'm doing that later. So right click over here now. And the measure I want to actually create right now can be any measure at all. Or it could be even a blank measure. So over here, I'm going to just call this one. Sorry, I mistakenly escaped it. So I'm going to call this one blank measure equals 1. Can you see it now? Just like this. Okay, once we are done now, we have a blank measure here. Let us look at our first prompt. This is our first prompt right in here. This particular prompt is very, very important for we to actually let GPT know what exactly we want and what we want to use, what we want to create for, right? Over here, it says, you will act as my assistant. Help me create DAX measures that I can actually directly copy into Power BI TMDL. Please, this is very important. take note of this. So use this exact structure for every measure. This is my structure here. And the structure is actually measure, then the measure name itself, and the DAX formula, right? So after that, you have to give it what you don't actually want to include in the measures that would actually be created for you. So we don't want to actually have indentation, format, split of line. Each measure must be written in one single line to avoid any error when we paste these particular measures inside TMDL. So now, this is actually the example we have actually cited. It's always important for you to actually cite an example, for GPT to understand exactly what you want as an output. So I'm going to copy this particular portion here, go over to here, and paste it in, then shift enter into the next line. So wait for my next prompt. So it's very important for you to tell GPT to wait for your next prompt, otherwise it will actually generically run the prompt and start creating something for you. So that is it. So let's go over to our data. Here is our data opened up inside Excel. So don't always feed GPT with your company's data. It's very important. What you can do is to actually create a fake data and feed it to GPT. So for you to make sure your query doesn't break after all, make sure you use the same header, like the same column header for your data structure. If you have 10 columns, create 10 columns with the same actual header of your company's data and feed it in with random values for all the rows. You understand? So after all, then you can actually copy your actual data and connect it to your report or your dashboard. You get it right now. So over here, I'm going to copy this particular part. Just copy a few rows like this. Control-C to copy. Then you can actually feed it with a file by clicking this particular plus sign here, add photo or file. So I don't want to do that. I'm just going to go with this one here. Then paste this one in here, shift enter. So I'm going to say here is my data set, which you are okay. So we're going to say, wait for my next prompt again. And now the next thing we have to do is to give it our other prompt. Let's go over to this particular part. This is all the measures that we want to write. So instead of us to spend, huge amount of time to write 24 measures, why don't we give it to GPT to write for us? Then we can edit anything that GPT does not get right. So copy this particular portion here, Control-C, and you paste it right in here. So you can now write the measures. I have a calendar table called calendar. It's very important because we have time intelligence right in here. So we want to actually tell it what our date table name is all about. So run this and let us see what it is. As you can see, it's going through it one after the other. And within some few seconds right now, it will be done writing all the measures for us without we doing any manual work all by ourselves. So let us wait for it. All right, it has actually done it for us. Let's go ahead and click on copy. So once we copy this right now, the next thing is for we to actually go ahead to our, Power BI environment. So now we are here. How do we use these particular measures that GPT has written for us? Let's go to this particular part here, TMDL. Is it TMDL? I don't know what to call it. So click on that particular view and open this particular model here. And here we can see we have measure that has just one item inside it. Pull it and push it inside here. So we have something like this. Okay, next again is for you to place a cursor right at the end of one here. So once the cursor is there, shift enter, then contribute to paste the measures right in here. If you go ahead and run this, you're going to have an error because we already have some warning, like some red. So why is it giving us this particular error? Does it mean GPT actually gave us what cannot work? No. Let me show you the reason why it's doing this. So if you look at it right now, there is some kind of indentation here. Can you see where this particular measure starts from? So this one has actually, go extreme end. So we have to make sure we correct it. Let's see how to do it. So from here, highlight from this particular portion here, down to this particular part, then your tab key to shift it. And the error has been cleared because they are now in the same line, right? So if we run this, we might encounter an error, and I'm going to show you how to fix that. Let us go ahead and apply this. Okay, now we have an error. We have to know what this particular error is all about before we can actually go ahead and fix it. So click on show detail. So over here, we have issue with the column 1 here. So can you find where the column 1 is? You can't find it. Let me show you. Okay, now let's go over to this particular table here. So over here now, we have column 1 inside our DAX house. So we have to drop it. Click over here and click on delete. Click on yes. So once we have done that, let us actually apply again. This time around, it has worked 100%. Let us go back to this particular view here, report view. And we have all our measures written for us right in here and proper reference of every single thing. Like the calendar, can you see? Calendar, date. So that was because we actually told GPT that we already have a date table named calendar and it referenced it the way it should be. It's all about prompting. If you know how to prompt, you're going to get the best out of any AI. And one thing is this, I have said it earlier, please don't rely on this. Try to learn DAX so that you can know when things, works the way you wanted it, or when it is not giving you exactly what you want, you can actually make changes to it. All right, so we have this right now, and this is exactly what we want exactly. Let us look at our first measure here, which is gonna be our total revenue, drag it in and see what you have. Now you have this, you can quickly format your measures by clicking over this particular dollar sign here. It depends on the currency of your country, so you can actually do the formatting. Once you have done this right now, make sure over here you have 0 to remove any extra decimal that you might actually have. Is very important. So this is the first thing you have to do to actually get it done. And please, learn DAX is very important. Don't rely on AI. AI can actually give you wrong calculations sometimes. Right now, it is time for you to start creating visuals. So this has nothing to do with GPT. We can actually bring up our own ideas into this, right? So how do we do that? Let's just go back to our PDF. So inside our PDF here, as you can see, we have this particular portion. Try to read through this particular part. You're going to understand the KPIs and the cards or the visuals we need to actually show on our dashboard. So how do we create this? It's very easy. Let me show you. So inside our, report view here, we're going to create our first KPI, which is going to be this. So I'm going to actually expand this down and keep it around here. Do the same exact thing because I'm going to put them on the spot whereby it's going to be permanent right in there. So we're going to use this particular new version of card, which is this particular card here that has new. The easiest way to actually find it is for you to come over here, and you can see over here we have this particular card that has new right on it. So click on that and switch it to this one. Now we need to actually create the visual now. So what do? We have to come over to our DAX house here, and the things we want to actually have right in here right now will be our total revenue, which is this particular one here. Then once we've gotten this right now, the next thing we have to bring in is going to be our month over month change and year over year change based on percentage. So bring year over year and bring month over month, then revenue month to date and revenue year to date right in here. As you can see, it's not looking good on our card, no problem. Let us quickly go ahead and format it. Click over here to bring up the format, and on the layout right in here, we increase the layout to 6. Then once I've done that, from horizontal, we choose vertical, and it looks like this, but it's not making sense at all because this has no any format right on it. Let us actually work on that. So let us come over to the call-out value here now. So we're gonna drop the value down to 20. So let us put it on 25. This looks more better, right? So once we have done this right now, you can see the percentages are not well formatted and as well the values. So we have to quickly go ahead and do that. Click on this and let us scroll all the way down and click on total revenue here. Then choose the number formatting of your choice, maybe $, naira, pounds, or whatever it is that you really want. So it has lots of decimal numbers. We have to make sure we reduce it. Over here, we put 0 in here, and that is all you have to do. So once you have done this right now, we have to go over to the year over year percentage and make sure we format it as a percentage. So do that to every single measures you have right in here and make sure it gives you something better than what you have right now. So right now we have gotten this. This is not all. So let us resize this here. So once we have resized this and we are very much saturated with what we have, so we can actually go back to this particular part here and the call out, then we scroll down, we can see the label here. We're just going to increase the label a little bit to give us something popped. So 13 looks perfectly okay right now. So once I'm done, the next thing I'm going to do right now is to copy and paste it down. I'm going to shift this one over here, then click on this particular one and remove the total revenue from it. It's important. So click over here and take off the total revenue, then drag it all the way down here. That is better. Now click on this very one here and take off everything, exclude the total revenue for a reason. So take off this one, take off this, take off this, take off this one here, and now we reduce it and make it like this. So right away we have to actually add the previous month and the previous year to this particular card, and don't resize it, just keep it at this particular same size here because it's going to actually come over here like this, right? So reduce it. Now let's quickly go over to here and make sure you have this particular build opened, this particular one. No, not build, I think it's format. So under the format right now, we have to click on the reference labels right in here. So click on it and scroll the way down. So over here, we're going to bring in our previous month and the previous year. So bring in the previous year and as well the previous month. So as you can see, we have them right in here right now. So we're just going to leave it this particular way. And later after all, we're going to actually add some couple of icons to them and beautify them just like what you have seen on the final dashboard on the introductory part of the video. You get it right now. So we have gotten our KPIs created and it is time for you to go into the visuals. Now, let us create our first visual, which is going to be a line chart. So over here, if you look at this particular part here now, it says clean revenue trend visualization with seasonal patterns right in here. So can you see that right now? And this is going to be something very great. You're going to learn something new from here right now. So all you have to do is to go back to here. Now we're going to right click and add visual. Then you can make this one as big as you want for the time being. Later, after all, you can actually resize it to fit into what you want. So with this here now, we can actually bring in our total revenue right in here, which is going to be this very one. And we just have to go ahead and bring in the month for the time being. So go to calendar and let us bring in our month into it. And it's going to actually give us this particular visual. Then we actually change from this to this particular line chart right in here. This is great. Okay, but what if we do something beyond just a basic chart like this? Number one, we want to be able to switch between the month or start of month, quarter, year, weekday, and the week itself. So let's see how we can actually get that done. It's very easy. We already have all the columns we actually want to use right in here. If I go over here right now, you can take a look at all the columns we have right in here right now. So we're going to use this particular month column here, the quarter column here. We're going to use this particular date, the shorter format, and the year. And if we scroll to this particular extreme end here, we have this particular start of month right in here. Then in one single line chart, we're going to be able to switch between different time, frame. Okay. To get that done now, let us choose to use this particular modeling here, then go over to new parameter and select the fields parameter. It's very important. So over here now, just say grouped date. Okay, so come into this particular box and open up this particular calendar here. Then bring in the month into it. Then let us bring in the day name into it as well. So if we go the quarter into it, start of month into it, then let's go with the days there, is weekdays there. Okay, we're gonna make it this simple. So what we need to do right now, just give this one to be day. Then over here, for this particular month, we're going to choose this one to be month, year altogether. Don't actually go ahead and hit the enter key. Just step off from it. You understand? So over here, we're going to name this one week. So week type. Then step off from it. Then just go ahead and click on create. So it has actually created, a particular, table for you right now. And this is the code written or generated for us. This has nothing to do with AI or GPT. It is actually, built inside Power BI itself, right? Okay. Next again is for we to actually go ahead and try to swap, what we have right here before. Click over here. Now, this is the group date we have actually created. So let's see here. Click on this. Now, click on this particular visual here. This is the month. Take off the month and go to the group and move this particular group into the x-axis. So now, here we go. If I choose day, you can see we have the day right in here. So our day is starting from Friday to Wednesday right here, right now. So we have to make sure we change the orientation and have the right, settings. So not from Friday, from Monday to Saturday, up to Sunday, I don't know. It depends on how your week starts and ends in your country. So we're going to go over to this particular table view. Then we actually locate the calendar. Now we go over to the day. The day I'm using, I think is it's the long one. Then this is what it is. If I don't want to use this particular full day here, and I want to go ahead and use this, it's very simple for me to actually change my code. That was why I said, even though if AI is going to actually help you to write your DAX, try to understand it first, so that when you want to make changes, you can actually make changes without thinking of, writing a different prompt for AI to actually, do it for you. So let's do it. Go over to this particular group here. Before we make any changes, let's come over here. I want you to take a look at what we have on this particular x-axis here is the full format of days, right? Okay, now let's go ahead and make a change of it. So we are here. This is going to be day name. This is it here. So I'm going to make sure I move it. Then choose the short one, then hit the enter key. So you wouldn't see the changes right in here. Let's go back to the view. So now something happened here. We just have to step off from here. So click back on day and let us watch what happens here. It has been fixed for us automatically because we understand our DAX, right? It's very important. Okay, next again now is for we to actually make sure we sort this. So we just go over to the calendar itself and choose on this particular day. And week number here, if you click on the drop down, it's going to give you lots of days. So it's on the date here. The day here now is giving you 30 to 31 days, depends on the day selected. I think we have week. I don't know where it is. Okay, if we don't have it, we have to create it all by ourselves. We don't have to go back to GPT to actually help us create it again. So I'm just going to come over here, anywhere here. I can actually start from here, shift, enter, new line. So week number. So I have my week number here. Inside the week number, I'm just going to use the week day here and bring in the date, then close and hit my comma, hit my enter key. That is all. I have just updated this right now. Let us go ahead and take a look at what we have just created. So week number 1 to 7. I get it. This is exactly what it is. So now highlight this particular column here and go to this particular part to sort by week number that we have just created. So it has been sorted. Let's go and see if it works. It has not worked. We still have Friday to Wednesday. So what we can do right now is to actually remove this particular one from here and bring it back in again. And that will actually reset everything from Sunday to Saturday here. Can you see how it looks right now? This is exactly what it is. So you have to understand your DAX first. It's very important. So now we already have this and we can switch between different view of the dates we have right in here. Can you see now? Can you see? This is exactly what it is. Okay, now the next thing we have to do is to actually make sure we add an average line to this so that we actually check which of the months, which of the days, or which of the year we actually go above the average. It's very important. Let's try it. So this time around, we're going to go over to here and we scroll all the way down. Then we now go over to this particular reference line here, scroll down, we choose add line. Then over here, we choose average line, and we already have the average line right in here. So any line above average, we want to actually add the tally label to it. And it is something very simple. I'm going to show you how to do that. So before we get that done, do we actually have an average, measure? Let's try to check it. So go over here to our DAX house. So we have average. Can you see now? So we have the average measure here. This one. Okay, this dynamic one. This one here, calendar, need month, no. This should be dates. Dates. So this one now should actually fix everything for us, 100%. So I can't emphasize this enough. Understand your DAX before you ask AI to help you build your DAX function. It's very important. So we just fixed what AI wrote that is not working because we know exactly what to fix there to make it work, and it has actually worked 100%. Right? Okay, now we have two different averages right in here. This is the dynamic one. This is just a basic one. I wouldn't go into detail about it, but for now, let us keep it at this. So the next thing we have to do right now is to find how to actually add some, label to this, but only where we go above the average line. How about that? Let's try it. So make sure your line chart is selected. As you can see, it's on focus mode. The next thing we have to do is to come over to this particular build here. Now we go to this particular y-axis and click on add, data. So once we are here, click on this particular icon here. Once you click on it, it's going to actually open this particular visual calculation for you. So we don't have to give this particular portion to AI to do for us. So you have to understand your DAX. It's very, very important. So I'm going to type in here AVG for average. So average here equals. So what I'm going to do right now is to find the average of what I have right in here, which is very important. So how do we actually do that? It's very important. So to get that done right now, we're going to use the average function. So with the average function right now, we want to actually search row by row and check, average it for us. So we just have to do here, So we just have to use this function called, that is going to be rows function. Put a comma here. Yeah, I think it's the rows function. Okay. What we need to do is to use the iterator average. So this one goes row by row. Then we use the rows function here. Put a comma. Now we bring in the total revenue. So this is something you have to understand. In this particular kind of calculation, you are going to use the measure that is already existing inside your visual. Any measure outside of visual wouldn't work. So you have to keep it as the measure existing inside of visual. That is how the visual calculation in Power BI works. So now hit the enter key, you're going to see the same exact number over and over again. And that is actually your average, right? So now if you look at it right now, it has added another line to it. And that line goes along with the reference line we have used for average, which means what you have just calculated right now is 100% intact or correct. So what do we now do? We don't actually need it to actually be everywhere. We just want to actually keep it at the place where we are some kind of above the average. And how do we actually get this done? It's very important. Let us find out. So the next thing we have to do right now is to come over to here again, add, and click over here to add a new one, then check above. So above equals, so right here we're going to use the if function and say if, revenue here, total revenue is greater than or equals to average here, then give me total revenue, otherwise just give me blank, hit the enter key. Now you can see we have blank because the if it is not, there's nothing supplied to it. You can decide to actually supply blank to it and it will still give you the same exact thing. Now we have this. As you can see, the line has jumped to the actual line right in here, but this is not actually what we want. We don't want line, but we're going to keep it at this. The next thing we have to do right now is to actually have this particular average here hidden. We don't want to display it on our chart. It's very important. So once we have done this right now, the next thing we have to do is to step off from here. Okay, so once we step off from there, it is time for you to start building this particular visual. We can put it on focus mode to take a look at exactly what we are working on. Then we can come over this time around, come over to here, and let's go straight up to the line part here. Let's go straight down, click over here and select this particular one, turn it off. Then select this particular one here, turn it off. It's off. Then what next do we need to do? We have to scroll all the way down here and go to markers and make sure on the marker we actually turn the above average and we turn it on. Can you see what it is right now? So we have this on right here. So we're only pointing at where we went above the average. That is where we want to show the data label. And this is exactly what we have right in here right now. So what do we do next? So we go straight up down here and check this particular one here, data labels. We turn it on and it's actually turned on for every single thing. And it's too much information. So what do? We have to turn off those ones we don't actually need to keep. So open up this particular one here, go over here and start turning them off one after the other. So if I click over this, total off, go average off, and now we only keep for above average to be on. And that is how we got this right in here. Very interesting, right? Okay, now I'm going to tell you that we are done with this particular visual for the time being. And for the legend, we just have to go ahead and take off the legend. Okay, I'm thinking of something now. I'm thinking of how to be creative to remove one of this particular legend from here because this particular average is not part of what is showing in here. So why do we have to keep it? So how do we take this off? I'm thinking. So let us go ahead and actually trouble our brain a little bit. So we go in here. Let us click over here. So once we are here, I'm thinking, I'm not sure if we can use trying to get something here. Okay, I think we just have to turn off this particular eyes here. It's gone. How is it? It's actually gone 100%. So if we do the same thing to this particular one here, it's going to actually have this particular, dotted line we have right here hidden. So we don't have to actually hide that one. Keep it turned on. And that's exactly what we want. Sometimes don't just say it cannot work. Try to do it and see if it will work or not. So we have just done that right now, and that is actually good development. So we have actually done justification to this. Now, let us create revenue by category. Always go to a PDF and see what exactly is actually next, which is this particular line here. It's very important. So what we can do right now is to resize this. But before we do that, let us quickly do a little formatting here. So go over to the y-axis and turn off the value here. So not value. We just have to scroll down, turn on the value, and turn off the title. So once you have done that, now we have to go to the x-axis and the y-axis. Now turn it on. Then we turn value off and the title off as well. And that gives us a clean chart. For the legend, we just have to work on the legend as well. So we go to the legend and we turn off the title for the legend. It's very important. So we're going to work on the legend later after all, but for the time being, let us actually go ahead and resize it and make it this way. Then keep it somewhere around here for now, right? Just keep it around here for now. So now we just right click and create a new visual, and that particular visual will actually stay over here. So we spread it across this particular area here. And now we go over to here, we search for revenue, we drag revenue into it, and we search for category. You can see how easy it is. We drag category into it, and this is exactly the kind of chart we want to actually create. But there's a problem with this particular chart. The data label on the y-axis, are not showing very well. So how do we do that? We have to make sure we clean it up. So let's go over to here. Now go to the y-axis and make sure you turn this one to 50%, and you can see everything is now showing. Then for the title, we have to make sure we turn off the title. Is very important. Then we do the same thing for the x-axis. We just turn off the title for the x-axis and as well the value, and it is actually clean. So we get to maintain this particular chart later after all, but for the time being, this is actually what we really want to actually have right in here. Okay, what we can do right now is to copy and paste this same chart and keep it somewhere around here. Now, here we go. So what we want to have here now is not the same thing we have right in it. We just want to change one particular thing, and that's going to be our product. So we bring the product in here. We just drop the product right in it. So once we have done that, we take off the category, then we drag the product from the legend to our y-axis here. So now we don't want to show all the products based on what we have right in here as a question. So top performing product. So there is no specification of 5, 6, 7 or top 10 whatsoever. So why don't we keep it as top 5 performing products? It's very important. Let's do that. So we go all the way to this particular filter. We don't have to write any function for this, right? We have a filter base that we can actually use right in here. So what we can do right now is to click over here and choose to actually use top N. Then we put 5 over here. That means we want to actually have the top 5. Then from there, we go ahead and bring in our revenue and drag this one into this particular space. Then we click on apply, and that reduces what we have right in here. So because we have already applied formatting right on it, there is no need for we to actually reformat this again. It looks perfectly okay the way it is right now. So we copy and paste it right in here, and here we go. Can you see it now? Just drag it. So now we have to add something else right in this particular part, and that's going to be location. So some, clients or your boss might want to actually have a map, but to me, I prefer using a chart sometime if the data is not something complex. So just use a normal chart to actually display your state, your country, your region, whatsoever. So let us go with a chart like this. So all I have to do right now is to come over here and search for location, drag location into here, and let's go over here and swap product here for location. So take this one into this particular part here and we have it. So we are going to do the same thing again. Let us look at what it says over here. So geographical performance, city, location, whatsoever. So because we have a lot of information, even though if we are not being told to actually normalize it to just the top performing location, we have to do that to make sure we keep the eyes at where our business is actually performing. So we just have to do that by going over here, take off this one and click over here, go ahead and select the top end, then choose 5 over here as well. Then you know the drill already. So revenue, search for it, then drag this particular one into here and go ahead and actually apply this to it. Can you see how easy it is right now? So I am going to tell you firsthand that we are almost done with what we want to actually create. So what is left right now is exactly the insight we want to actually add to this. I'm sure we have it right in here. So let's say summary, insight. So which is this particular one? Click on this one here and it has actually given us that. Can you see it right now? This is what GPT actually wrote for us. So let us go over here and click on this. So this is not really looking good at all. So we can't read this. What if we decide to format this? It's easy. You can actually ask the same GPT to actually have this formatted for you, because we told GPT not to format it initially. But right now, we can't read this. We just need to format it before we can be able to know what is going on right in here. So copy, and let's go to GPT. So go ahead and paste it in here and just say format the DAX. So there is another website you can actually use. It's called DAX Formatter from SQL BI. So, but I think GPT is here. It can actually assist us to do that. It's very important. So we can actually copy the one that had been formatted for us. So let's copy, go back here, wipe off this one, and paste the formatted one here. And now, here we go. We can now see what is going on here. So the issue here now is that GPT went ahead and used date instead of calendar. So we just type in calendar here. And let's see, do we have any other error again? No. That was why I said, understand your DAX, understand your function. Just understand your tool before you ask GPT to do anything for you. Otherwise, you're going to battle with error and you'll be like, it's not working. It's working. It was because you don't understand it. So hit the enter key and here we go. So now we can read through this line by line if you want to understand what GPT has done over here. And the beautiful thing is this, GPT added comments for you to understand every single line of the code. This is how you can learn how to write it all by yourself. I can sit down and write this, but it's going to take me a little time. But with GPT, just feed it with some few prompts and your work is done for you. Okay, now here we go. We have the same exact thing here, just like what we have before. So all we have to do right now is just to go ahead and have this formatted. So turn off this one, click over here, change this from that to Comic Sans, and let us go with 20 over here. And this is exactly what we have. So why don't we use something like 12? So make it a little bit smaller and we can turn off this and close. So here we go, something like this. So this is gonna be at the bottom part here. And now this one, we just have to reduce it. So which will actually make us to go ahead and take this up a little bit and click on this particular one here and take it up as well so that this one can actually have space to breathe. So take this one up here. So we are done with all the visuals we need to actually create. The next thing we have to do right now is the design aspect, and that is the final point of this particular dashboard. Then we send it to our manager or the client and we get our review, and that is all. Right now, we have to create our beautiful design, and if you had been following me before, you would have known where exactly we are going to be creating this particular design from. That is going to be from PowerPoint. So what we're going to do right now is to take a screenshot of what we have done from here, take it to PowerPoint and create something that will definitely give us something better than what we have right now. So with my Windows key, Shift and S, I can actually activate the screenshot mode, then take a screenshot of this particular area like this. You can see Now we have just taken a screenshot. All we have to do is to open up a PowerPoint. All right, here comes a blank PowerPoint. Just go ahead and get a blank presentation. Take off what you have right in it. Then let's go ahead and actually Ctrl V to paste it and click on this particular one here. Then Ctrl D to have it duplicated. You understand? So right now, what we're going to do is to actually start, laying some couple of, shapes right on it. So I'm going to have dimension. This is going to depend on the screen size you actually have. I have a different screen size. You might not use the same exact size like me. Do what matches what you're doing, as in the screen you have. So what I'm doing right now is actually going to depend on my screen. So just take it as an illustration. So I'm going to go over to Insert over here. So from Insert, go to Illustrations, and let us pick up this particular rounded rectangle right here. I'm going to drag it down here. The next thing we have to do right now is to make sure we change the dimension, the height and the weight of this particular shape. Match it to your screen. If it doesn't fit your screen, then it's either you reduce or you increase it. It's all yours. So go over to Shapes format here. And over here, I'm going to do 3.06. That is for the height. Then I'm going to do 6.87. Can you see it now? So I'm going to keep this one somewhere around here. Somewhere around here. Now, the rounded corner is something I have to actually make sure I don't have too much. So just go ahead and reduce the rounded corner a little bit. Just have a little bit rounded corner for it. Okay, so we want to have a space at the top here for the sake of our logo and our title and stuff like that. So keep this one right here and go ahead and have it duplicated. So once I've gotten this duplicated, we have to change the height and the weight as well. So all we have to do is to go all the way here now. So the height is going to be 6.55. That's going to be the height. Now the weight should actually be 2.36. Let's do 2.3 and 6. So we're going to have this one right here, right? So keep it right here. Now we can move this one a little bit to give a space, for this. We need to actually have a white space. So once we are done now, we duplicate this one. We actually bring it over here. Can you see it now? Then what we can do right now is to go over to this particular part again. Now we have to reduce this one to be 3.32. Then we do the height to be 4.84. That is going to be 4.84. So now here we go. We just have to resize it and keep it somewhere around here. You can see I have a white space around my cards like this. So we just go ahead and duplicate this one again. And now we keep it over here. All I have to do right now is just to reduce this particular one and make sure I have the same white space over here. I'm going to keep it somewhere like this here. Then get this one duplicated. So if you have this one over here right now, it should give you this particular white space. If you want to still use this particular part here, you can come over here and change this one to 2.51. Then we do it by what? Let's do it by, I'm thinking, by 5.9. 5.39. Okay, now we have something like this. So can you see it now? Then the next thing now, we don't have to take this particular part again. We can just fill it because that is the only place that is left. Just go ahead and actually fill it down like this. So here we go. We have something that looks like this. I can remove the background I have right on it. So we have all of those particular cards right in here. So the next thing now is for we to actually start working with our background color. Okay, first of all, I'm going to actually hold my Control key, select all of them, and this one, including this one here. Once I've done that, right click and go to format object. So right away, we are going to change the color and take off the outline, right? Let's go to the line first. Under the line, no line, go to the fill and click over here and choose this particular, let's go with this particular second one here. I think it's not bad. All right, now this is not looking cool at all. The next thing we have to do is to click on the background itself. Make sure not the card this time around, but the background that we have. Then come over to this particular gradient fill here. So we have selected our gradient fill. Don't change anything yet. Leave it the way it is right now. Over here, I'm going to select this particular first one and choose to use this particular white color over here. It wouldn't show any effect right away, but don't worry. Let's go for this particular one here and select this one and select this particular color. You can see it's beginning to actually give us something much more different. So if I select over here right now, I can select this particular one and select the same exact color. But right here is pretty very deep. So I want to change something. Click on this same one, go over here, this time around, click on more colors and try to actually, mix your color the way you want it. So I'm going to actually select a lighter version of this particular color like this and click on OK. So this gives me a little bit, better stuff. So if I come over here right now, I can choose something like a blue color over here. Now, this blue color, I want to actually mix it up. So what I'm going to do right now, I'll just go over here, click on this particular part, and I'll actually shift this one a little bit. So can you see what I have right now? Just try to be creative with what you're doing and you're going to have the best. Okay, so all I want right now is this particular part right in here to be the same thing as this particular one. All I'm going to do is just to Control A and manually shift it until I actually have everything to be equal. So we have something that looks like this, and we're going to work with this. The next thing we have to do right now is to bring in the company's logo. If you have a company's logo, this is the time to actually bring it in. Let's go and find it out. So over here, as you can see, this is our logo here. Drag it onto this and keep it over here. Now we have to resize it. So I'm sorry, I should have shown you this before. If you look at my background right now, it matches my logo right here. So you have to pick color from your logo to actually create a background, and as well the color in your chart to make sure you have a color harmony. I don't know how to call that. But right now, this is cool. So we're just gonna go ahead and resize it. Then keep this around here. Make it smaller. Make sure it sits tightly right in here. So something like this looks pretty better. So now it is time for me to take this into our Power BI environment and see how it can actually bring our dashboard out. This time around, this one has no value. We have just used it to actually reset what we have right in here. So go over to File and now click on Export. We're going to export this either as PNG or as JPG. It's all your choice. So click over Change File Type here and the PNG here. So I'm going to save this one as background 01 so that if I have second one, I can actually rename it O2. So we just go ahead and click on save, then just this one, and we have just done that. So let's go quickly to our Power BI environment. So here we go, we are right back to Power BI. It is time for you to bring in the screenshot, the background we have just saved. So let's go over here. Make sure you do not actually click on any visual. If you click a visual right now and you go over to this particular format, then look at what's going to happen. You see all of this. You can see how to bring it in. So deselect the visual and click on the actual canvas. And let's go. And here, we just bring this one to 0%. And we go over to browse. Then we're going to bring in our background here. And here we go. We have something like this. Does it look anything different? Not at all. So it is time for us to start, adjusting things until we get exactly what we are looking for. At least we are somewhere, right? So if you have actually gotten to this particular part of the, tutorial, please do me a favor to actually, leave a comment. It's very important. It encourages me a lot. So if you have not subscribed, it is very important. Please do subscribe to help this particular channel grow, like, and as well share if need be. Thanks. Let's continue. To get this formatted, the very first thing, the very first place to focus on is going to be on the KPI environment here. I'm going to actually widen the KPI here and keep it at this particular size. So what I'm going to do next is for me to come over to my format area. Then while we're on the format area, click on this particular size and style and scroll all the way down and turn off the background. And that is all, right? So we're going to go ahead and some kind of click over this particular card area here. Under the card area, we want to turn off the border, turn off the background color, then that is actually going to be it. So if I go back now, you can see it's a little bit different from what we have right in here right now. So this particular border we have right here, if we want to keep it, we can keep it. If we want to remove it, we can actually get it up. But right now, I think it's okay. So what I'm going to do right now, if I like this a lot, I can actually copy it for this particular one. Go over here and click on this one and click over here to actually have it for it. So now, as you can see, we have something that looks like this. Okay, now let me just go over here and widen this particular one up until I have the same size as this particular one. So what I'm going to do right now on that particular one, which is this particular one, not the one above it, we just have to go over to the border area. So you can always close this, just collapse and bring it back on again to make sure you actually see it afresh again. Sorry, let's do this. So collapse, everything will get closed when you open it back. You can actually know where you want to navigate to. So we want to go over to card here. And once we get to card, I'm going to actually click on border. So the border is actually back. I want to actually have border right on this particular card. But this particular border here is pretty too much. So what am I going to do? So click back on the card itself again. Also, once we click on the card, we go back here. So we open up our border and we drop the transparency of the border to around 20%. And let's see what 20% will give to us. So 20%, not too much. So let's go with 50% of the border. Okay, I think this actually gives us something much more better than having it at 0%. This is cool. I love something like this. So now we're going to work on this particular one. I have to take this one up to make sure I allow this particular border below here to actually show up. So this one's going to actually have a different, formatting entirely. So what I'm going to do right now is to actually collapse it again and close and open it back. Now go to the reference label right in here. So while we are here, we just have to scroll all the way down. Now until we get to this particular part where we have our background writing. So I'm going to actually go over here, select this one, and select this very color here for my background. So as you can see, this particular color I just selected right now matches our actual, background itself. So that is nice. So, but the text we have in it is not actually popping out. So what can we do? It's very simple. Let me show you. So let's go over to the reference label again. This time around, we want to make sure we are on all. So while we are on all, you go down to the value area, click on the value, and let's go over here and select this particular white here. That actually pops this particular one up. And we want to make sure it's actually on bold to actually pop out the text a lot. So now when we actually scroll back up, so 0%. So when we scroll back up again, so we're going to see where we have the text writing, title itself. Then we go over here and select this particular one. So we don't want the title to overshadow the actual numbers, so we actually drop it down. So this is what I selected, this particular one with just 10% darker white. Can you see it now? This is actually something very good. So we are almost done with our KPI, but not 100%. So what about we adding some couple of icons to this particular KPIs that we have right in here? All right, I already have my icons, here, as you can see. And you can get your icon from Flat Icon. It's very simple. Just, go to that website, flaticon.com, and download any icons of your choice. So what I'm going to do right now is to click over here. And now I'm going to go over to the image area, this particular one, images. That was why I chose a particular, card that will allow me to actually get icons into it without doing it through PowerPoint. So open up this particular one, turn it on, then go over to browse here. And let's choose this one. So it's pretty huge. So what we can do right now is to go over to this particular part here. The size, let us keep it at 30 and see how it's going to look. Okay, I think 30 looks pretty okay. So now we have to float it to the, to the bottom. Then after that, we just take it to the left, right. left-hand corner rather. So now here is it. So if you look at the spacing between our icon and the text right now, it's too close-tad. So what can we do to actually separate them a little bit? It's very easy. From here now, we have 4. Let us choose 10 and see how the separation actually comes in. Okay, the icon itself is too dark, like too bright in color, so we have to drop down the opacity. So let's quickly go straight up to here, and let us put it at 50% and see what is going to happen. So we go with 50. So that is good. So this actually works better, right? So we're going to do the same thing for this particular ones right in here. You know the drill already. If I click over this particular one, let me show you one more time. Click over here and now go over to here, turn the image on. So if you do that, it's going to actually turn on the image for every one of them. You understand? The image is on. So you can't even turn it on. Yeah, you can. So now, if we bring any image in, it's going to actually be supplied to every single KPIs we have right in this particular card. So for that, what you can do right now, turn it off and go over here and select a particular one, which is the revenue year-over-year change. Then turn on this particular one. It will be turned on for just this particular, KPI, which is going to be this browse here. Then we go over for this one. Then we just follow the same exact thing we have done the other time. So the transparency should actually be around 50%. So 50, then over here we push to the left. Then over here we do 10, we do 30. So this particular 30 I'm going to put in here is not actually fixed. You should understand that. It depends on the size of your image. Sometimes it will be too big, too small. You just have to find the number that works best for you. Try to understand that. It's very important. Okay, now we have actually, gotten this one done, but not yet. So click over this particular, vertical alignment here and push it down to the number area. So if you look at my number right now, it's not showing as a number percentage, but in a decimal. So what we can do is to quickly locate this particular, measure, and that's going to be the year over year here. Then we try to actually convert to a percentage. Now, as you can see, we have all the icons right in here and our KPIs are looking very pretty. So it is time for us to actually, have this one right in here, some kind of cleaned. So all we have to do is just to make sure we sit it right in here, adjust it until actually, fit what we want. So here we go, something like this. So now we have to actually change the color and as well go over to here and size and style, then turn off the background for it. You understand? That reveals the actual background for the card that we've actually used. Is very important. So can you see? It's a bit different right now. So once we have done that, we want to push the, the legend to the bottom. So it's better that way. So we just go over to the legend area and we just select bottom center. So this looks better. So next now is for we to actually make sure we actually give it a title. This title now shouldn't be just a generic title, it is something very different. Let's find out. So here is now our title, which is revenue growth with seasonal, fluctuation. Something like this looks pretty better, right? So now we can actually have, okay, I think it's okay. So we can click over here now and go over to the color. So to get the color changed now, go to the line part here. And now you have to click over the particular part, which is the linear part, and change to smooth. If you love the smooth line, I always love the smooth line. I don't know what happens. So here we go. We have this. So if we go down again, we have the color. Now we have to match the color to something that is actually happening in our dashboard right now as the background color. So to get this done right now, what you can do is just to make sure you select revenue, because right away we have multiple measures playing around right in here. From average to the above average and stuff like that. So how do we get that done? Let's quickly go straight up. And we are under all, we select revenue. Then we go down now. We can now have this one active and we change it to this particular color right in here. This is exactly what we have. So if I do this now, you can see the color that we have. Already, this particular dotted line here matches this particular color. But if you don't feel like it, you can change the color. Let me show you how to. So go back here now. And let's quickly go to the markers. So while we are on the markers here, we select this and we choose above and we scroll all the way down and we select color. We just choose this particular any color of our choice here. Let's go with this particular one here. Can you see it now? So, but one thing that is very important for me to show you is that the legend here is not reflecting this particular color we have just selected. But I don't like this color. I want color very closer to the actual color we are using. So this one, not too cool for me. Okay, this very one looks okay, but I want the above to actually, reflect the actual color we have right in here. So what I'm going to do right now is to scroll back up a little bit, and once we get to the marker area, we're going to see one little thing here. Let's collapse, open it back again. So now we go to the marker again, markers. Now turn this one. Okay, I think that's going to be under the legend area, not from the marker. Let's go to the legend here. So while we are on the legend area here, you can see match line color. So once you turn it off, automatically this particular circle here will look like exactly the one we have right in here. That is what you can do. So next right now is the average line. We have to make sure the average line is on a gray color, not too showing up, but it's still showing. Right now it's too visible and it's distorting our view. So what we can do, make sure you select it, and let's go straight down here and go to the reference line. Let's go down. So once we are here now, we select the line, and this is the color. We change it to something like this and see. So here we go, we have something like this. We can actually drop the transparency. So around 70% will be okay. So I think 70% looks quite all right. So this is what you can do right in here to have this created. As for this one, is actually very simple. So all we have to do is to resize this. Once we have done that, we go over to this particular part here. We turn off the background color. It's not really important. It's done off already. So the next thing we have to do right now is to go over to this particular bars here. From bars now, we just scroll all the way down. We come over here, we select this particular color. No, not this one, which is this very color here. Then this looks better. If you don't like it, you can always change the color to match whatever you really like. So once you have done this right now, the next thing to do is to turn on the data label for it, which is this very one here. But there is something I don't like about data label. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Can you see where we have 0.5, 8 million? This particular value here is in thousand, but it's showing in actually million. So what can we do? So we have to actually go over to this particular part. This is not ideal. I'm going to show you the best way to do it, and GPT will definitely help us to write that particular code. I'm going to show you how to use the code to better show this value more dynamically than what we have right now. So let's go over to data label, drop it down. So scroll down here, and we go over to value. So from value now, we choose this particular one, then we select 1,000. So we now have 582,000. Can you see now? This is the actual value. But this here, if this turns to million, it's going to actually give you some couple of issues, right? So what can we do to make sure it gives us something much more better than what the default formatting will do? We have to write our own, DAX to actually, control our formatting, which I'm going to show you in a jiffy. So right away, we are so sure of what we wanted. So what I'm going to do right now is to actually say, okay, now I want to retitle this. So we just have to go to the title and type in what the title will be like. So over here now, you just have to say, so it's just like a question, which category drives the business? So we can now see electronics, home appliances, followed by fashion. They all actually bring more revenue into the business. So the question has been answered by the visual. If you do your visual so well, it's going to give you something very better. So now what we can do is just to come over here, click on this, and apply it to this particular one here. Do the same thing for this very one over here. So right now, we just have to make sure we some kind of resize this and make sure it is sitting rightly where it is, right? Something like this. So now we have to click on this one. So over here, we just have to align this properly. So we have to come over here and take off the background color we have right in it. So once we have done that, we just have to go all the way down to the value area. So drop the value. So we don't want to make sure it's showing up too much. So it's pretty cool like this. You understand? So when you close everything, it shows up very well. So right now, it's not looking very much better. So we need to actually change this particular title to actually what we really want. Let's do this. Go over to title, and let's change this too. So now you can see the kind of title I'm using right now is like a question form of title. So over here I said, which product should we protect and invest in? And over here I said, where is money, where is money from geographically? Okay, I don't know if this makes any sense. Okay, let's do where is money coming from? That English is wrong. So now, as you can see, I have turned it to where money is coming from geographically, but this does not actually give us a holistic title. So we need to actually add what is called subtitle to it. So to add that right now, scroll all the way down, and over here we have subtitle. So we have to open it up, and we do top 5 location by revenue. Can you see that right now? Better. So we do the same thing to this particular one. So over here, we do top 5 products by revenue. So this looks better. So somebody can actually tell how many products we have. It's beyond 5, but they're only showing the top selling 5 products right now. So now what is left right away is actually how to some kind of format our value. Instead of we showing 0.23 million, we want to show the actual number, either in thousand, in million, in billion. That kind of formatting is dynamic. We don't have to write the code from the scratch. Otherwise, it's going to take us a lot of time to get that done. But let me show you how quickly we can build that using AI or ChatGPT. If you look at the screen right now, we have this particular part here as the code we want to write from 100,000, million, billion, trillion, on and on. But we don't have to spend a lot of time doing it. All we have to do is to give GPT an example of what we want. So for that, I have this particular prompt right in here that tells GPT exactly what I want to do. So what I'm going to do right now is to copy this away from here and paste it into GPT. If you want this, leave a comment on the comment section. I'm going to actually give you this same prompt and you can use it. Otherwise, you can actually write this out and ask GPT to do this for you. So let's go over to GPT. So now inside GPT, I'm going to paste this particular prompt right in here and quickly go ahead and run it. Let us look at what we're going to have. Okay, so now it has given us thousand, million, billion down to trillion. That is great. So what we're going to do right now is that over here, as you can see, okay, this particular part is actually omitted from the code. So we want to actually add it to the code right in here. So what do we do? So what I'm going to do right now is just for me to copy this particular one from here. I think I can make it work even though if GPT does not actually complete the code, based on the hierarchy. It's all about you understanding your DAX before you ask any AI to do it for you. So I've copied this particular part right now. I'm going to go over to my Power BI environment here. Then let us create a new measure for the first time. It's very important because if you don't actually add this to a measure, once you have used it once, it disappears, right? So I'm going to actually name this particular measure formatted, or number or formatted code, whatever it is. So now here we go, we have something like this, but it's not looking pretty at all. That was because something is actually missing. Let's get back to GPT and copy this particular portion right in here. You understand? So we just have to paste this one over here. This one should actually be variable. So we create a variable equals, and this one here is gonna be not this. So this variable here, we have renamed our variable. So on this one, we just have to say equals selected value. You understand? Selected measure. So we have a function here called selected measure. This particular one here is what we need. Selected measure, then we put a comma over here. I think so. Then we return. Can you see what I've done now? We return this. So here, this should actually work 100%. Then can you see what I've done now? This is exactly what it is. You need to understand it. Then what do? We actually just go ahead and commit this. Now, we don't need to actually use this particular code with the measure title. So this is what we need. Just copy from this particular part here down to the last one here, copy. So once you have copied it, it's okay. Now, before we do anything, I want to make sure I bring this up. Can you see this now? Look at this particular value. Okay, not this one. This one will not give us what we want. Let's go over to this particular value right here. Now, I want to pay attention to this particular value, 0.23 million, 0.20, 0.17 million, and all of that. So how do we get this to work better? So we are just going to locate the measure we are using, which is this particular one here. So from here right now, we want to change this from currency down to dynamic. You get it right now. So once it has changed, the next thing you have to do is to wipe off this particular formatting here. This is the previous formatting we were using. Take it off and paste in this particular one. Hit your enter key, and that is all you have to do to actually get this done, right? So once you have actually committed this, let's see if it has any error or whatsoever. So now this is what you have. You have 0.00 MK, right? So what is wrong? How can we actually fix this? So we have to quickly go over to, now this is a visual formatting, not more from the code. So we scroll all the way down, or we can actually collapse it, bring it back on. So we go to this particular part, data label. So once we are there, we scroll down to value area, the value area. We scroll all the way down now. So display units, we just go from none, from auto to none. And that actually fixed this for us in Tarzan. Whenever we have this to million, billion, trillion, it will go accordingly. This is much more better than using the default formatting inside Power BI. Can you see what AI or GPT has just done, right? So I told you this has to do with some kind of visual calculation, right? So let's get back here. It's a visual, formatting. So if we come over to this particular revenue right now, it has affected this one. Quickly go over here and scroll down, select revenue. Then you have to take it out from auto to none, and you have this. Can you see it now? So this is what you can do to actually have everything here done. Then this one here is important. You just have to make sure you go ahead and actually format every single visuals that you have into, none. Then better. Then do the same thing to this one. Select none. This is beautiful. So now you can see we have just done justification to it. There is one more thing we have to actually do before we close this up. So we have to select this one here and stretch this. This is our slicer. So stretch this like this. And now we have to actually select a different slicer for this particular, formatting. Select this particular button slicer here. So when we select this particular button slicer, it's not looking good at all. So we have to go ahead and actually have it formatted. Click over here and go to layout. And from here, we select, that horizontal. Yeah, horizontal looks perfectly okay. Then we increase the numbers to show up everything. Now it's showing up everything. Then take off the title. It's very important. We can now see that everything is actually showing up right in here. So once everything is showing up right in here, we have to make this better because the way it looks right now, it's not looking pretty. We want to make sure it looks like a website. So what we can do right now is to click over here and go over to this particular part and turn off the background for it. So once we have done that now, the next thing we have to do is to make sure we come to the button area, we scroll all the way down, we turn off the border, we turn off the fill. Now everything is gone. So what do we do next? So if I select anything from here right now, you can see what I have selected has disappeared because it has a particular, on selection to turn to white. So what we can do right now is to actually go all the way up, and the button state, let's go over to the button, yeah, the value, yeah, colored value here, then go over to this particular color, the state here, and say selected. So our selection should actually be black. Then we turn this to a black color when there is a selection, and this is what it is. So, and I'm going to make sure it's some kind of, much more popped out, and I'm going to go to the default one. Let's go over to the default. So for the default now, we scroll all the way down, then we select a different color for our default, like this. Can you see? The default one, which is the one that is not selected, is not actually popping out the way the selected one is popping out. So after we have done this now, the next thing we have to do is to go over to the button area and make sure we select a state. So at default, we want to actually have border around it. So we turn this one on, we come over here, and from left, we turn it to the bottom part of it. So once we have done that, we scroll all the way down, and we try to put this at 80%. So it's not as showing, but it's still actually reflective, right? So now the one that is selected should actually be much more, popped. So what I'm going to do right now is to go over to the button again, scroll down until we see this. Let's go up. Then from default, selected. So once we actually choose the selected one, then we turn it on. That's it again. So button here, the state is selected. So once we choose selected, we go over to the button, and we choose any color of our choice. So we make sure there's a selection. So this is actually going on a vertical mode. So, and it's like it's on hover. So we want to go ahead and take it off from hover. So button, on hover, we turn off, there should be nothing here. On press, why do we have something on press? So on press, we don't want anything. So it should be on selected. Selection. So we put it at the bottom. So you can see when there's selection now, it matches the color of my background here. Can you see it now? This is what you have. So you can see here, it's doing wonders. So now we can actually add some couple of, slicer to it. So the slicer you might want to add to it right now is very simple. We can come over here and click on this, copy, paste it. Or if need be, we can select a slicer that will actually give us a drop down. So let's right click over here and add, then go over here. Then let's us add the year slicer, or the month slicer is better. So we add the month first. So once the month slicer is here, we can click over here and go straight up to this particular part and select this very slicer here. So once selected, we come over here, we choose this particular drop down here. So we just have to align it properly. Then we just go ahead and turn off the header from here. So once we are done, we can go over here and turn off this particular background from it. So now you can see we can select anything of our choice and it actually give us what we want. You understand? So you can decide to actually do the ear slicer as well. So make sure you properly align this very well. So let's go with this. So finally, we have gotten our dashboard built almost with AI. So we don't have to do too much work when it comes to writing the functions, the DAX functions. We just have to give it to AI to do for us. And it has actually worked 100%. So this is exactly what you need to do to build something as beautiful as what you have on your screen right now. Please don't forget to actually subscribe, share, and like. Your comment is always welcome because it encourages me a lot to keep creating for you guys. So thanks, and see you in my next videos.